Hey there, everybody. This is Kristin from Teaching Balance, and I am here with you with this week's mindfulness meditation practice. And it is spring. Spring has sprung. Happy spring. Happiness to us all. Huzzah. And the reason that I bring that up, of course, is because spring has definitely been a recurring theme throughout all of this month's practices thus far. The monthly theme of renewal and all things associated with that. It's a little bit of an abstract idea, but I'm going to get a little bit more concrete with our invitation for this week, which is around the idea of blooming and letting go. So as I was thinking about this idea of blooming, emerging, sort of like all things related to the idea of spring, I was reminded of a tree, and I don't know what kind of tree it is, and I'm sure this is the case for more than one type of tree. But there is a kind of tree that I'm familiar with where in the fall, its leaves will dry up and essentially die, but they will stay on the tree. They don't fall like is so typical of so many deciduous trees that drop their leaves. And so it's interesting, not only just from a, visual standpoint, but what is, I think, particularly interesting about it is that they don't drop their dead leaves until the following spring. And the leaves are basically pushed out by the new leaves, the new blooms, the new whatever it might be. And then that falling away occurs, which I just think is so interesting because it is different than how it usually is. And so as I was reflecting on this and I was thinking about this idea of renewal, spring, rejuvenation, emergence, one of the things that came to mind for me is that we can support this quality of warming up, turning towards the sun, emerging, rejuvenating, kind of coming out of our winter hibernation. And we can support that by letting go of some of the things that might be associated with that. So it could be this idea of letting go or loosening your connection to, I don't know, maybe, I'm trying to think of an example, like, I don't know, some sort of a sleep habit. I don't know why that popped into my head, but I know I certainly feel like I sleep more in the winter because it gets dark earlier. I go to bed earlier, all of those sorts of things. So just noticing, are there certain habits? It could be like eating, you might find yourself drawn to eat heavier foods in the winter, but then as spring comes, we turn towards lighter, fresher types of foods, things like that. And then, of course, in a more symbolic sense, are there things that you're hanging on to? It could even be pandemic related, perhaps, that it would serve you to begin to move towards letting go of it. And I don't know what that is. It's really a very individual, you just reflect for yourself on what you think that might look like. But it's this idea of letting things fall away, setting things down, perhaps until at least we're on the other half of the year and starting to prepare for fall and winter again. But just playing with this idea of, as a way to support your blooming and this refreshing of, new flowers, new leaves, new emergence of whatever the future holds. As you think about that, allowing yourself to support that emergence by allowing things to fall away. So I'll just kind of let that be out there. Let's go ahead and not let go of our meditation practice because that, of course, is very supportive. But if you've been finding, for example, that, I don't know, that there's something about that you want to mix up and play with. Maybe you decide you want to sit for less amount of time. Maybe you want to sit for more amount of time. Maybe you want to, I don't know, switch your timing. Being willing to play with some change can often be very energizing, which of course is the spirit of all of this. So let's go ahead and set our timer for 10 minutes. And as we begin taking those deeper belly breaths, and as we play with allowing ourselves to move toward what feels easy and what nourishes us, letting go of some of the heaviness associated with the winter season, and allowing ourselves just to feel sort of the quiet promise of this turn into spring. To me, spring always feels very much about potential, among other things. And just allowing yourself to enjoy that potential. Perhaps even start making some spring and summer related plans, and allowing your mind to move forward in that regard. Of course, right now, we're not moving anywhere. We're allowing ourselves to rest in this present moment. Let's not get too excited. Just noticing what it feels like to be sitting in this position, in this space, in this moment right now. And just allowing yourself to be aware and present to how things are. And even though it might be exciting to think about summer and spring, I take full responsibility for planting that seed, by the way, if it's been hard to stay here. But then coming back to this moment and allowing yourself to be open toward how things are, accepting of them, even if they're not ideal or optimal. But allowing ourselves just to exercise this inherent capacity that we all have to suspend judgment and be present to how things are. There's nothing wrong with going about your life, evaluating and assessing and navigating as such. That's how we need to function. And it's nice to take a break, which is what we're doing right now. Just being with and letting go of fixing and evaluating and improving. And instead, just allowing ourselves to be. So let's sit for a little while in silence, and I'll check back in a little bit. noticing where the mind is now. If it's wandered into thoughts or plans, remembering that's not a problem, you just bring it back over and over and over again. And just accepting, just like we accept our experience during the meditation, that also includes accepting this seemingly endless wandering away and coming back. That is part of it, as you know. So let's take a little more of that tasty, silent meditation practice. Got about 2 minutes or so. And let's just sit together until we hear that final bell. That's our 10 minutes. So once again, happy spring to you. And yeah, I feel like I kind of said it all before, so you get it. Have a lovely rest of your day. And as always, thank you so much for taking this time and for allowing me to accompany you on the journey. I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye.